Hey there, adventurers! If you're enjoying the content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our amazing community. Don't forget to leave a like if this story hooked you, and be sure to activate the bell so you never miss a new episode. Thanks for watching, and let's keep exploring together. Chapter 4: The Mission of the Ebony Legion. In humanity's darkest hour, when the hope of survival had begun to flicker and fade, Admiral Reynolds made a call. It wasn't to any fleet, nor to the armies still mustering on Earth. It was a call to the only force that could possibly turn the tide, the warriors who were known across every military division as legends, the Ebony Legion. The Legion was not just an elite unit. They were more than soldiers. They were the embodiment of resilience, forged in the fires of conflict. Trained for the most dangerous missions, the kind of operations no other soldiers could survive, they had become humanity's secret weapon. Their specialty was fighting in the shadows, using sabotage and guerrilla tactics to cripple enemies far larger and more powerful than themselves. They had faced insurmountable odds before, and now they would do it again. Across the devastated cities of Earth, the name of the Ebony Legion was spoken in reverence. Some called them invincible, the last hope of a dying world. To others, they were already mythic, stories told to keep fear at bay, legends of soldiers who could stand against the galaxy's deadliest threats. Whispers grew, rumors spread. This mission would be their final act, the last chance to save Earth. Captain Michael "Raven" Harrington stood at the head of the Legion. He was a man whose presence spoke louder than words. Tall, silent, and focused, Harrington was a leader whose every decision carried the weight of hard-earned experience. His reputation preceded him. He was a tactical genius, a soldier whose combat prowess had been proven on more battlefields than anyone could count. He never hesitated, and his men followed him with absolute loyalty, knowing that he would lead them through hell and back. But Harrington was more than just a commander. He had personal stakes in this war. He had watched as Mars burned, as his friends and family were reduced to ash by the Khardaani assault. Though he rarely spoke of it, the fire inside him was fueled by a deep need for vengeance. This mission wasn't just about Earth, it was about striking back at the monsters who had taken everything from him. His silence on the matter only deepened the respect his soldiers had for him. They knew he carried his pain with a quiet dignity, letting his actions speak louder than his words. When Admiral Reynolds presented the mission, an infiltration of the Stellar Hive, the Khardaani's largest and most heavily fortified mothership, orbiting Jupiter, Harrington did not flinch. The plan was suicide, and everyone knew it. The objective was clear: sabotage the reactor core at the heart of the ship, destabilizing it and causing a chain reaction that would cripple the Khardaani forces in the system. It was their best hope of stopping the invasion. There would be no extraction, no chance of retreat. Once inside, the team would be cut off, left behind to finish the job and take down the enemy from within. For Harrington, there was no question. He accepted the mission without hesitation. This was the moment he had been waiting for. A chance to strike at the heart of the enemy, to hit them where it hurt. If it was a suicide mission, then so be it. He and his men had faced worse odds before, and if they had to die, they would do so taking the Khardaani down with them. Lieutenant Damian Titan Cross was Harrington's right hand, his second in command and the anchor of the Ebony Legion. Towering above the others, his nickname was no exaggeration. Titan was a massive figure, a man built for combat, with an imposing presence that inspired confidence in those who fought beside him. While Harrington was the tactical mind, Titan was the hammer. In battle, he was the force that broke through enemy lines, his strength and courage unmatched. He was the kind of soldier who didn't just follow orders, he lived them. His loyalty to Harrington was absolute, forged through the fires of countless battles. The bond between them was unspoken, but solid as steel. When Titan stood with you, you knew you were protected by an unstoppable force. Lieutenant Sarah "Whisper" Kane was the team's quiet shadow, their communications and intelligence expert. Whisper, as they called her, lived up to her name. She was often unseen and unheard until the moment she was needed. Her eyes and ears were always tuned to the enemy, and her ability to gather information in even the most hostile environments had saved the Legion more times than anyone could count. She could listen in on enemy transmissions, crack their codes, and feed crucial intelligence to the team, guiding them through even the deadliest of situations. While the rest of the team relied on brute strength and firepower, Whisper was the invisible hand that ensured every operation went off without a hitch. Sergeant Marcus Ironclad Holt was the team's heavy weapons specialist. As his nickname suggested, Ironclad was unshakable in the face of danger. He had been a military engineer before joining the Legion, and his deep understanding of both human and alien weaponry made him indispensable in battle. He was methodical and patient, the kind of soldier who could hold the line when everything else was falling apart. When the firefight grew thick and enemies swarmed, Ironclad's weapons would be the first and last thing they heard. His protective nature extended to every member of the Legion, and when things got bad, Ironclad was the rock they relied on. Corporal Ethan Fuse O'Donnell was the team's demolitions expert, the man responsible for setting the charges that would destroy the Khardaani reactor. His nickname, Fuse, was fitting for a soldier who had made a career out of blowing things up with precision and finesse. He was quick-witted and sharp-tongued, often lightening the mood with humor even in the direst of circumstances. But when it came to his work, Fuse was deadly serious. His skill with explosives had been honed over years of experience, and his expertise was unmatched. If anyone could bring down the Khardaani's impenetrable war machine, it was Fuse. Together, these soldiers were more than a team. They were a family, forged through battles fought and victories won. And now they faced the most dangerous mission of their lives. The mission briefing was short but filled with tension. The plan was simple enough, but every member of the Legion knew it was a one-way trip. Admiral Reynolds stood before them, his expression grim but resolute. He had no illusions about what he was asking them to do, and neither did they. "You know the stakes," Reynolds began. His voice carried the weight of command, but there was an undercurrent of something more: respect. The Khardaani have fortified their position around Jupiter. The Stellar Hive is their crown jewel, the heart of their fleet. If we don't stop them there, Earth will fall. Your mission is to take down the reactor core. You know what that means. There was a long pause. No one spoke, but the gravity of the moment hung heavy in the air. "This mission will not just buy us time," Reynolds continued. "It may be the last chance we have. The fate of Earth rests on your shoulders. I can't promise you an extraction. I can't promise you a way out. But I can promise you this: what you do today will echo in history. You are humanity's last line of defense. Make every second count." Harrington stood silent, his gaze steady. He knew what was being asked of him, and he accepted it fully. This was not just another mission. This was the mission that would decide the fate of the war. "We'll get it done," Harrington said quietly, his voice filled with the calm assurance of a man who had seen the worst and survived. Reynolds nodded, understanding that no more words were needed. Harrington's team would succeed, or they would die trying. Either way, they would make the Khardaani pay for every inch of space they had taken. The journey to the Stellar Hive was marked by an eerie silence. The team boarded their stealth vessel, a sleek, dark craft designed to slip through enemy defenses without being noticed. Every inch of the ship hummed with tension as they neared their target. The signal inhibitors and thermal disruptors had been activated, masking their presence from the Khardaani's advanced scanners. To the enemy, the Ebony Legion would be nothing more than another piece of debris floating through space. As they neared the Stellar Hive, Harrington remained quiet, his mind focused on the task ahead. The mission was clear, but the cost was heavy. He thought briefly of those who had already fallen in this war, his comrades, his friends, his family. The images of Mars, burning beneath the onslaught of the Khardaani, flashed in his mind. He could still hear the cries, still see the smoke rising from the crumbled cities, but he pushed the memories aside. He could not afford to let them cloud his judgment. Sitting across from him, Titan spoke in a low, steady voice. "Whatever happens, Captain, we'll finish this." His words were filled with a confidence that seemed unshakable. Harrington nodded. He trusted his team completely. Each of them knew the risks. Each of them knew that this mission might be their last, but they were ready. They had faced impossible odds before, and now they would face them again. In the cold silence of space, the Ebony Legion prepared for what could be their final battle.